Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Juneteenth week of action, where we're celebrating the freedom of Black people and discussing some of the issues that affect Black people today, such as white supremacy and institutional racism. Today, we have a very special guest. Her name is Latasha Jefferson. Say what's up to the people, Latasha.
Hello, hello.
So, um, you were attacked by white supremacists in West St. Paul.
Yes.
Tell us about what happened.
It was a typical morning. I went to go get my kids some breakfast, and dinner because I had to work that evening. And I went to a neighborhood grocery store called Oxendale's, and everything was fine until I was leaving out. Um, I don't know if this guy seen me in the store and just felt like whatever, I'm not supposed to be in that neighborhood, whatever the case may be. Didn't know we had any issues. Didn't say anything to each other. Didn't even lock eyes or anything. He gets in his car, I leave out. I get in my car, pack my car up with my groceries. I'm leaving out. I see him pull off. He pulls out one way, I pull out the other way. But the way that we pulled out, it's both ways that you can get to the same exit. So once he seen that I was almost at the exit, he hurried up and sped up and tried to beat me to the exit. So um he pretty much his car was like kissing my car, but it didn't do any damage. So I'm like, I roll my window down like, hey, did you just hit my car? And he's like, bitch, if you weren't in so much of a rush, this wouldn't have happened. And I'm like, okay, he ain't right. Let me roll my window up. I rolls my window up. I get out to go see if get out the car to see if he hit my car. As I go around to see if he hit my car, he meets me at the back of my car. When he meets me at the back of my car, he has like this 12-inch knife, and he starts swinging it at me, and he's like, bitch, you guys don't belong in this neighborhood. Get out of this neighborhood. You don't belong in this neighborhood. And I'm backing up. And as he's doing it, he's jumping at me as he's trying to stab me. So about the fourth time that he got to me, when he tried to stab me, and he was aiming for my chest. And a guy jumps out the car and he yells, um, "Are you okay?" And when he said, "Are you okay?" the guy got kind of distracted, and I was able to kind of push him with my arm, and he nicked my arm. Didn't get it was just like a little scratch or whatever, by the grace of God. Um, so I kind of like push him away, and I'm like, I hurry up and I jump back in my car. So the other guy, he's running from the street to try to come get the guy or whatever. The guy that attacked me jumped back in his car, bagged up all the way back out the parking lot, the other side of the parking lot. So other guy jumps in his car and he chases him. But at this time, I had already got his license plate number, but I wanted to see which way he was going. So I jumped in my car to see which way they were going. But they started running lights and other cars started getting involved. So I just turned back around, went back to the location where the incident happened. By then, the other guy had met me that jumped out the car to help me. He got back. We both met at Oxendale's. We both called the police. We got there. Police got there within like 30 seconds. Like they were literally up the street at the gas station. Don't know how they didn't see all the commotion driving past the gas station, but they were up at the gas station. The police officer came. He was very, very helpful. He was telling me that he's going to do everything that he could to try to get this resolved and everything. So they put a bolo out on him. The bolo only lasted for 72 hours. So after the first 24 hours, the police officer was fed up that he could not go knock on doors and all that because it was just a bolo. So because they haven't arrested him yet. So what they had was me come in and pick him up in the lineup. They also had the witness come pick him out in the lineup. That was because when they pulled the cameras, they can fully see the incident, but they couldn't get a clear picture of our face. So in order for court, he didn't want him to go to court and say, well, that's not me. That's my car, but that's not me. So he wanted for sure for us to pick out his actual face. So we picked out the person and the thing. They put out a team and now they were able to go knock on doors. They said they went and hit like the last 5 addresses that he had. They were unsuccessful in finding him or his vehicle. So right now it's just a manhunt on. They said they're doing a manhunt to find him, but they have no luck. Apparently, he did it to another girl hours earlier. Remind you, this was at 9 o'clock in the morning. So he was just out looking for trouble. They said that he got another girl up at McDonald's, but she didn't have a phone or anything to be able to call the police. Um, so after that, I just kind of been in touch with the detective, and they just kind of been keeping me updated, pretty much just saying they haven't got him. They're trying everything. They switched it over to a different department because it's bigger than what the department that was dealing with it is. So they're supposed to be charging him with first-degree assault with a deadly weapon and a hate crime. So
Oh, so it is going to be a hate crime.
yes,
Was the other woman black that he assaulted?
yes.
Wow. So this is serious. So and then just I think 2 nights ago, a woman was killed at a protest. A white supremacist ran into her. Here's the picture of the knife right here that you sent to me. I don't know if people can see that, but that's the knife that the white supremacist was swinging at Latasha. What was going through your mind when all this was happening? Because you were just minding your business, leaving this. Did you see him in the store or anything before that?
I seen him in a store, but he was already walking. I just walked up to the register. I was at like register 1. He was at register 5. So he had already paid for his stuff and walked past, and I was just putting my stuff on the belt. So he had plenty of time to leave. Like I said, I feel like he intended on messing with me anyway, because by the time I got paid for my things, put my things in the car, he was just now pulling off.
So
So
he was waiting for you.
I can't say for sure, but that's just how I felt at the time, because if he only had one bag and he was already in his car, by the time I came out, his car was already started. I still had to put my groceries in the car, start my car up, and pull off. He could have been out the parking lot by then. It's like I said, he tried to rush and race me to the stop sign. I mean, at the time when he was attacking me, only thing I could think of is, please God, just get me home to my babies. All I wanted to do was get my babies some food and feed them, and they was at home waiting for me. And I was just on the way home after all of it. That's when all the emotions start coming, and I just start thinking like, thank you for letting me be able to get in my car and drive home to my babies, because they were waiting for me. And what if I didn't make it home? What if my kids would have been sitting there waiting for their cereal and milk, and I'm just in this parking lot dead, and they're waiting for me to come home? So all I could do was thank God that that man jumped out of that car and actually helped me. It was like 7 other people in the parking lot, and they all just got in their car or just sat in their car and watched. This man was the only man. His name was Brent. He was the only man that got out the car, and he wasn't even in the parking lot. He was just driving past and just seen the incident. The knife was so big, he saw the knife and he seen the guy just jabbing at me. And by the grace of God, God placed him right there to help me, because that knife would have went through and through my chest. Like, that knife
Right,
was big.
man. I'm so glad that you weren't physically harmed. I know you're probably traumatized by
Hmm.
that situation, and it was with the hate crime thing. What has court proceedings started yet, or anything? Or
No, they had only just told me that today or yesterday that file my whole case went over to an investigator. At first, the police officer that was involved was the one kind of getting it together. The day that I went in, did the lineup, they had a team getting set up to go knock on his doors. They had dogs and about 6 officers, but then they weren't successful. So then they contacted me yesterday and let me know that they were not successful, but they do want him off the street immediately, and that they put it down to a bigger team that can handle it.
wow, So he hasn't been arrested yet.
No, he hasn't.
Wow, that's crazy. And do you think that the police are doing all they can to get him off the street? Or you think if he
Mm,
was black, they would have found him yet? But this
I
just
think if he
happened.
was,
Go ahead.
I could say the officer that's involved that was there, I feel like he's trying, but he's just one person. So, I mean, I don't know how dedicated the other officers are on trying to get this man off the street, but this man that pulled up, the first officer that was there, he has contacted me almost every day besides his days off and let me know, like, hey, I know it's not the news you want to hear, but we weren't successful. It's the end of my shift. I just wanted you to know. Da 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 da. So I mean, I feel like he's trying, but I can't speak for the rest of the rest of the team. But I do feel like if he was a black man, he definitely would have been caught by now. They definitely would have found him. And later that day, I did see him riding around in that same car. So I called to see if he has been arrested and if someone else was in his car. And they told me that he wasn't arrested. And I let them know, like, I seen him in the same exact area that the incident happened in on my way to work 6 hours later. And they were like, okay, well, we're going to send a squad out, a couple of squads to search the area and see if they can find him. Of course, they called me back saying that they weren't successful, and if I see him again or his car, to call them right away. But now I live in a neighborhood where I feel like I gotta look over my back at every moment, every time. I'm afraid to let my kids go outside and play. I just don't know. Like all he kept saying is, "You guys don't belong in this neighborhood. I'm the only one here, so who is you guys?" You know what I mean? Like, is it the color of my skin? Is us black people not supposed to be in this neighborhood? I grew up in this neighborhood, so I don't understand why I don't belong in this neighborhood. I pay my rent, and I just like everybody else pay their rent and mortgage there. So why don't I belong there because of the color of my skin? Why don't why don't I belong? I just didn't understand like who was you guys. You guys don't belong in this neighborhood. That's all he kept saying, and that's all that I can really remember him saying is, "You guys don't belong in this neighborhood."
Is this the first racist incident that you experienced on in West St. Paul?
Yes,
Okay.
in my life.
You said the first one in your life that you've experienced
Yes,
like that? Right.
yes.
Wow. So what do you want to see happen?
I feel like he should be charged with attempted murder because, um, yeah, it was. They say assault, but if he was successful, I'd have been dead. So he attempted to kill me. He didn't attempt to hurt me. That knife is not something that you just try to hurt somebody with. That's a knife that you try to kill someone with. That knife should not have even been in that man's car. That knife should have been in that man's kitchen, not in his car. That is no knife that you carry around to protect yourself with. And even the officer said that that's a deadly weapon. That's not a weapon that is legal to even carry on the streets.
Wow. Man, I am so glad that you were able to survive that and that at least one person
Mhm.
stepped up to help you. The hate crime asked, did he ever call you the N-word, or he just said you people referred to you
No,
as?
the first word that he said was, you niggers don't belong in this neighborhood." Then he said, "You guys don't belong here. You guys don't belong here. You guys
Wow.
don't belong in this neighborhood." So, like I said, he intended on the color of my skin, not who I was, or it wasn't just about me. I think it was just about my whole racial culture. So,
Just being a black woman. And so yeah, I there was a guy named Douglas Lewis who was killed, I would say, a couple years ago by Anthony Trifoletti, and he was driving on the freeway, and then the white supremacists tried to cut him off and slow him down, like they felt, like it was their duty
on
to
61,
yeah.
that's
And
actually my friend's son's dad. So, yes, I know exactly what you're talking
wow,
about.
Anthony Trifoletti was eventually convicted, but it sounds very similar, like white people trying to control the road, and then it leads into an altercation and what have you. So
Hmm.
I'm really glad that that you made it out of there. But I think it's really important for the St. Paul Police Department to get this person off the streets because white supremacists continue to attack black
Mhm.
people and people who are just protesting and things like that.
Mhm.
Did does this remind you of anything else that has happened to anybody else that you know, like Douglas or anything like that?
Um, I think I haven't really thought about that much. I just keep thinking about I'm still alive, and I gotta be grateful for that because I haven't really. I try not to really think about it because it puts me in a dark spot. It make me feel feelings about the white culture that I shouldn't feel, and I know it's not right. But at this moment, I'm traumatized, and every white guy that come my way, I feel like they're gonna attack me. Just like they say, when a black person walk past a white person clench their purse, I feel the same way. You know, when a black person walk past a white person clench their purse, so it's like it's kind of the same way with me. Like I feel like every time I see a white older guy, I kind of, freeze up. Like, is he going to attack me like the other guy? Like, just because of the color of my skin? Am I, or now that I'm in this neighborhood where, you know, they say I don't belong, he say I don't belong in. I feel like even walking to the store, I just feel like we're just being watched or we're being looked at different. Or I just feel like if my kids, go outside and play and try to play with these other kids that they're going to look at my kids different, or they're going to look at my kids as they shouldn't be in this neighborhood, so their kids shouldn't play with my kids, or things in that sort. And I just don't, like I said, I don't want to think the way they're thinking. And I feel like what he did to me is bringing me down as low as how they think. And I know I should not think like that.
So it's a traumatizing incident that happened to you. How has
Hmm.
that affected your children? You think? I mean, I know they weren't there, but just as far as you dealing with them on a daily basis and being, him
My
still
kids
being on
don't
the street too.
My kids don't know the incident that happened. I haven't been able to gather my bearings to actually sit down and talk to them about, what how people really are. And I feel like now this is, I mean, I should have been did it, but going through this situation, it make me want to sit down and let my kids know that not everybody is for you. You know what I mean? And you might experience this one day, and I just want to hope that you can handle it the way that I was able to handle it and get out of the situation. So, but I do feel like it's affecting my kids because I don't allow them to go outside and play anymore. They have not been outside all week, and if they do go outside, I take them to the east side and play. So it's kind of sad or sickening that I feel like my kids can't play in the neighborhood that we pay rent in unless I'm sitting outside. And my son's 12, so he should be able to play outside without me over his shoulder. You know what I mean? Like he should be able to go play in basketball in the backyard like he used to before the incident happened. And I could be in my house cooking and cleaning and stuff like that. But now I just feel like because of the color of my son's skin that he might be attacked and I'm not there to protect him. So I don't allow my kids to go out. I don't allow my son to walk across the street to the store anymore. I don't allow my kids to play with the other kids in the neighborhood anymore. And I feel like, why do my kids have to be punished over someone else's actions? So I'm really trying to move. I've told my landlord I'm breaking my lease. I'm trying to find a place now, and I just don't feel safe and I don't feel welcomed in that neighborhood anymore. I can't hear you.
Um, in 2021, black people shouldn't have to go through that.
Hmm.
In the state of Minnesota, I know you want to move, but what else do you think? Is there anything that you think could be done that would make you feel safe where you're at right now?
For one, if he was captured, I feel like because my husband tell me like we don't have anything to worry about. I am licensed to carry. I did have my gun on me that day, but something in me just did not let me use my gun that day. I My gun was actually on my seat. I guess I looked at the guy as, oh, he's just an older man. He was 52. Let's go there. The police officer did tell me he was 52 years old. So he's 52. I'm thinking, oh, it's just an old guy. I'm just trying to see if he, did my car. So I walk around even in my house with my gun on my hip, and I don't want to live like that. I shouldn't have to live like that. I should be able to walk around in my house without my gun. But and I know, and I feel like because he know what my car looked like, I don't know. It's just I feel like he's going to come back and attack me because he knows that he's going to be charged with this assault. He's already going to jail. So what do he have to lose? So that's just why I fear the fact of walking around in my neighborhood. Like, what if he tried to, come back and be like, okay, well, you got the police knocking at my doors, da 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 da. Yeah, I ain't caught, but I caught you, type thing. So I shouldn't have to walk around like I said, walk around my neighborhood or walk around my house with a gun on me 24/7. And it's sad that we do have to protect ourselves because I won't allow myself to be nobody else's victim. Nobody else's victim after that day. I refuse to be anyone else's victim. I refuse for anybody to make me feel like a victim. I refuse to let my kids be anybody's victim. So I'm going to do anything that I can to protect myself and to protect my household. So I feel like that's one thing that has dramatically changed. You're muted again.
Last couple questions here. When do you think the real court case will? Well, they haven't even found him yet, so
Mm-mm.
you
Nope.
guys are still in the mix of that. Okay, so
Yep.
yeah, when um when you did the lineup, was there an actual picture of him or?
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
how did they know? So they knew. So they had footage of him doing that to somebody else the other day too.
They have they have footage. Okay, so how I found out about the other woman, the police officers have not told me about the other woman. How I found out about the other woman was the Brent guy posted in the West St. Paul group, like, I'm praying for the lady that got attacked at Oxendale this morning. Da 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 da. And then in the post, his wife, like everybody's like, what happened? What happened? What happened? In the post, his wife explained what happened in the situation or whatever. And then I had already posted the story on my page. So a few of my friends knew that they were talking about me. So they started tagging me in the post. Um, and that's when another lady came in and she explained the car down to a T. She just did not have the license plate number, which I had the license plate number. And she described the guy to a T and said that he attacked her that morning at the McDonald's on Robert Street. So that's how I found out about the other woman. The police officers haven't told me anything about her. But when I did the lineup, they just had a whole bunch of guys or whatever, and then they gave me 6 folders, and then they recorded me opening the folders, voice. They recorded me voice wise and video wise, opening the folders and basically picking him up out of the lineup, which his face was right there. You muted again.
Thank you for coming and sharing this traumatizing experience with us. And as it starts to progress, and you start to find out more and get further along, keep coming back and keeping us updated about what's happening in this
I
case.
most definitely will.
And so hopefully this doesn't happen to anybody else, any other black women in West St. Paul.
Yes.
Is there any last thing you'd like to say before we go?
Mm, no, I just say, just protect yourself. Just make sure you watch your surroundings. And it's sad that I'm saying this in 2021, but us as Black people, man or female, just watch your surroundings because there's people that really hate us because of the color of our skin. Like,
Mm.
I'm the nicest person you can meet. And I would have never thought this would have happened to me. We got to stop thinking that things won't happen to us and start thinking, what if this happened to us? Because it's not about if it's going to happen to us, it's about when it's going to happen to us. And that really, this situation really opened my eyes to that. It's one day we're going to experience, whether it's as traumatized as my situation or even something minor, you're going to experience it because there's people out here with too much hate on their heart because of the color of our skin. So I just say, as men and women, just protect yourself and make sure you watch your surroundings at all times because people are quick to judge and people are quick to video and watch and they're not going to help you. So you got to make sure you're grounded enough to help yourself. So all I say is, like I said, is just watch your surroundings and don't think that this can't happen to you because it can happen to anybody.
Exactly. So please keep us posted on this, and I'm glad you're staying strong. But we have to stay aware, like you just said, of our surroundings. So hopefully, uh, they get him off the streets quickly. I hate to see you have to move and stuff like that. You shouldn't have to move because you're being harassed by a white supremacist. But
Hmm.
hopefully, they do what they're supposed to do. So in a week or two, please stay in touch and come back. Actually, Sunday, I'll probably just replay this interview on our other bigger show Sunday too.
Okay.
All right, stay in touch.
All
And
right, I will.
thanks for joining us tonight too, and being brave and holding it down like that.
Thank you.
All right, peace.
Peace.
And that was Latasha Jefferson. She was attacked by a white supremacist in West St. Paul about a week or two ago. The white supremacist is still on the loose, and there he was again, and this might happen to some of you guys. So this story might resonate with you, and you don't know. You might be driving in your car. All of a sudden, somebody's following you, or they're trying to cut you off the road, or think like what happened to out there to Douglas Lewis. Anthony Trifoletti shot him and um, and killed him. But that started with, they call it road rage, but I just call it white supremacists hating black people and getting mad when they see us driving or in the store or whatever, and then they might start stalking you. And we don't know how long that white supremacist has been stalking Miss Jefferson like that. Again, uh, he was wielding a knife. He was trying to stab her. This is the knife that he was trying to stab the black woman with that we just spoke with. And like I was just saying, I think 2 nights ago, a white supremacist ran into a white lady downtown or near Stella's Fish Cafe over there in Uptown on West Lake Street. She was just peacefully protesting. He came, seen them protesting, sped up on her, and ran her over. And that traumatized everybody was there. She was trying to get her life together. Being around the protest movement was helping her. And then the white supremacist came and ran her over, similar to what happened to Heather Heyer in Charlottesville. So there has to be something done to stop these white supremacists coming into our communities and causing havoc. Um, Also, there was a report that said a lot of white supremacists are joining the National Guard, joining our police forces, and things like that. So, um, the number one threat to America is not Little Junebug. The number one threat to America is white supremacy and white supremacist groups. So, while I know a lot of these people are, oh, we got to stop these kids. And yes, we do got to stop them. We do have to stop the gun violence in our community. But again, that's not the number one threat to America. And if we're going to treat gun violence like it's a health crisis, I think we should treat white supremacy, if that's the number one threat to America, then we need to treat white supremacy and institutional racism like it's the number one threat to America. So this weekend, tomorrow, we'll be at Hamlin Mitchell College demanding reparations. And then we're going to march over to Governor Tim Walz and demand that he sign the Minnesota Migration Act during this special session. The Minnesota Migration Act is designed to secure full and complete reparations for the American descendants of slavery who reside in Minnesota. So we'll be doing that tomorrow, but we'll also be simultaneously celebrating the St. Paul Recovery Act. The St. Paul Recovery Act earlier today, the St. Paul City Council voted to approve the new committee, or the Legislative Advisory Committee on Reparations. So shout out to everybody who made it on that commission. I know a couple names off the top of my head. Nick Muhammad, Kulia Pringle, and a couple others that Benjamin Michi, Veronica Burt, Professor Uhuru Williams. Congratulations to all of you. Then Friday we have online events. Jeremy English will be talking about Black Labor, White Wealth. Study the book by Dr. Claude Anderson. He'll be discussing that Friday. We'll also be talking about Black American music. That's happening Friday. Tomorrow, I just said that tomorrow we're at Hamlin Mitchell at 6 o'clock for a rally. Then Saturday, we have the Juneteenth rally with the Sounds of Blackness at the Capitol. We also, Sunday, there's a Father's Day brunch at a Taste of Rondo. So we have Juneteenth events happening throughout the rest of the week. So make sure that you get involved. Thank you guys for tuning in to another edition of the Trahern Crews Show. Tune in this Sunday. Actually, I think we'll be doing some more online stuff tomorrow. All right. Have a great day, a great weekend. Peace.